for these things. Additionally, if you could please send me your Gmail ID, or you can send me on WhatsApp. So I'll add it to a Google Sheets where we have all the previous batch recording and everything. You can go through them. If you don't have access, I'll make sure you'll have the access and you can go through those recordings one by one. Okay. This is not a kind of repetition. I do keep changing these slides. I do keep improving these slides day by day, even from your inputs, even from our discussions, even from various cyber journals. I normally get in the email at least once a week kind of scenario. As I told you, right? It's a continuous learning process, and these are the technology which are evolving at a much better space than any other one. So if you want to keep up your with your job market, with your latest trends and within this technology, we need to learn certain general, we need to understand certain changes happening throughout this thing. So I'll give you those links also after some slides, just to make sure we understand cybersecurity is not a stagnant technology, it's still evolving. So the tools we learn, these might be kind of old from cybersecurity scenario, because the tools, the landscapes do change every month, and so the certification also. I think one of you also asked, can I get certified or something? In that scenario, I'll suggest hold on right now, because whenever you're going to join an organization, if the organizations prefers one certificate with other, then yes, you need to do the most preferred certificate. Even within North America, we have quite a lot of tools groups who prefer one certificate over other. So if you do the other certificate, then you are at loss, right? You might have wasted your effort and the exam fee and the what all fee you might incur during this process. So for that matters, just hold on for some time till we actually start getting interview. So in case if you find this certification is a need for quite a few, then we might go for that certification. Similarly with the tools as well. For identity management, we have kind of stable tools which are stable over the years, let's say 4-5 years. There is also change, but not much as the vulnerability or threat assessment tools. And as we all know, these vulnerabilities and threats keep on changing almost every day. Means if you look at various portals like IBM.com, IEEE.org, where they normally put down these various attacks happened in last week or last month, and there you could understand, or you can search on a Google last cybersecurity threat or last cybersecurity known attack. Here you will find a list of attacks which are happened, and then the tool who are basically useful in normally preventing that attack further, or preventing the damage actually happening to the company. Now, how do you have, how do you understand these damages? These are, few pointers, but of course, yes, but this is slide also around, 6 to 7 months older, but it's still, overall types of attack do, make us understand how many how many types of attack we should target to in our current tools and, technologies. Okay. So let's try to understand one by one. Man in the middle. This is a kind of commission agent whom we trust, or whom we normally have a kind of partner relationship, and then he certainly becomes a point of contact for, let's say, any financial institution or any political party. These things do happen. The latest and biggest case was Hillary Clinton's emails. You might have heard this, right? Anybody heard Hillary Clinton's emails during the campaign?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a kind of man in the middle. The man who was, kind of trustee or friend of Hillary, who was handling Hillary's, emails, Twitter, and other social security accounts, who was leading the team of around, I think, 40-45 plus guys, and they were trying to basically get the most out of that campaign, which was kind of, given money by some external agencies. They say part of it came from Russia, part of it, originated from the Washington DC government account and all those things. Again, this is mostly they say or per se kind of scenario where nothing can be proved in the court of law. But still, we believe the attack was something like man in the middle. So this guy got some accounts, some offshore accounts where the money has been deposited by quite a few number of agencies, and that's why he got coerced and he basically damaged the Hillary Clinton's campaign. That's a, you can say mouth of the word, but actually when you talk about these securities which are perforated through this secure email communication, was kind of at a stake there. And we normally try to understand which type of vulnerability was this team using, which kind of threat assessment these guys have implemented as a policy. Again, in the next slide, we're going to understand the scope, length, breadth, and of SOC. So SOC again, how do you call? Then I keep forgetting the full form of SOC. Pardon me for that. Where's that? Yeah, security operations centers. So what is how the security operations centers, what's functioning, because all these vulnerability assessment, threat assessment, physical security assessments came under SOC, and we'll understand how SOC has to be constructed, and you'll be having a hands-on experience of your plan building for a small SOC to start with. Then as and when we go deep, uh, you'll actually create a plan for a great SOC or a good company, good sizable company, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what's our kind of first learning we're going to do mostly in this session. Okay, so first, that's a man in the middle, then driven by downloads. Now this is also called as phishing. There are various names as well. Okay, so what is phishing? Phishing is also another point given here, because there could be phishing by other way. So you get a a WhatsApp message, you get an email saying, okay, if you download this form, this is the form for getting social security earlier. You normally get social security after the age of 62 in North America. In Canada, I believe it's a 60. Please don't quote me on that. You need to check out the latest legislation. I think the latest Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, have basically put this as an agenda to his campaign to make the social security withdrawal age at 60. So that's why I think it's got to 60. I have not checked the legislation. Okay, I'm advocate by myself, so I keep track of these things as well. Okay, so driven by a download, you get a message and you say, okay, let me try that. So you click that. He asks name, number, and various other questions. So he will basically try to get your data and try to create a kind of phony access to either your banking accounts or your any other accounts where your credibility is at stake. Okay, now clicking this, you believe you have started an application which is much better than others. So you are in a dilemma, or you are in a what you can say cloud nine, trying to understand how my things are moving faster, how am I lucky, and those kind of scenario. But actually, you have been fished out. You have been probed for getting data from you and trying to create a phony channels to your various accounts, mostly financial accounts. Now, these kind of scenarios are quite common in North America, Canada, because the world believes all the rich people they stay in these areas. So whatever, even a typical credit card associates who's supporting, North America from India, China, Bangladesh, and all those, third world countries or progressing country, whatever you want to call it. No disrespect to anybody, but these countries they have their, voice support, this support, that support for various credit card companies. And these guys, these executives, few of them are really brilliant and they basically try to do these things because they have some information. They try to get some additional information by these drive by downloads. So they will ask you to download certain things. They will try to collect certain information from your hard drive also. And this was one of the great Russian viruses. This was happening in late 1970s, where Russian used to gather or read your hard drive for months together, and then whatever information they got, they used to either send it by JavaScript alerts or something like that. So that's why that attack was called as a JavaScript challenge. But actually, it was a virus created by Russian which used to get downloaded as an addition to your exe file. So it's a kind of exe file top up, if you can, say it in a layman's term. So it's attached to exe file or the downloads which you collect. like torrent and everything, and then it start using these, a slow data collection methods within your hard drive. Those guys will have really good idea of your file allocation table and various had this allocation methodology. That's why if you know Windows 11 have a bit of complex file allocation methodology where actually Windows 11 was the is the first operating system where they have started having antivirus or antivirus like AI services, artificial intelligence services inbuilt into Windows 11. And as the other says, means you might have read in PC Mag, Data Quest, and all those magazines. Windows 11 is an evolving operating system because of such services. I'm just telling you one. I'll tell you one by one whenever we move inside. Okay. So this way, even IT industry, our operating systems get accustomed to these kind of new threats, new vulnerabilities coming our way. Then something called mal advertising. This is quite common for new users. Why? Because normally old users don't go on click on any advertising. These advertising normally come at top of the page in between the YouTube videos, or whatever news site, local news site you use. Like when I was in St. Louis, I used to visit couple of St. Louis daily newspaper, because it's not a normal common habit in North America to get the paper based newspaper nowadays. So they are changing to this digital news media, and this digital news media may have coupons, advertisement, and all those things. So you might get a link for please have a coupon for 20% discount in Sam's Club, or in Circuit City or Radio Shack or whatnot. It's whatever the nearest bigger store near you, that advertisement might use their brands to do mal advertisement. And when you click that, they will ask you certain question. Again, they try to create or they try to collect your data to basically build out an informal or illegal channel to siphon your funds from your banks, or to damage your credit one way or the other, or they will create a threat and ask money to you. And these are quite common among the doctors, the lawyers, which are non-technical fraternity. So these mal-advertising are normally targeted for non-tech fraternity, because whenever technical people, they might get a kind of what you can say back of the mind, no, this is not the right thing which these guys are trying right now, so I should stop here, and then we normally stop. And that's why we normally should suggest all lawyers and doctors, or any non-technicals within our family, to make sure please don't connect any advertisement banner which is not known to you, which is kind of you have never seen earlier but it's showing you now. Okay, before getting validated by you or by somebody who knows what is mal advertising. Then there's a rogue software. What is a rogue software? These are specifically targeted via torrent downloads. They say, please have Windows 11 without key free of cost. Or they give you Windows 11, and then for key they might charge you $10, $20, not more than that. Actually, Windows 11 can cost you anything between, I think, if I'm right, the last price I have heard, 1 month back, was around 3,600 something, something, something. So 3,000 is good amount, right? Means if you want to get a yearly license, whenever you buy laptop and desktop new, they have volume licensing. So the license attached to the desktop or laptop comes at a fraction of cost. So they purchase this license at $100 or $200 or something like that. But if you try to get it as a single license from Microsoft Store, it might cost you around 3,000 something. During Christmas, they give you 20%, 30% discount. Again, to torrent, you go and download a Windows 11, which can be a 4 gig file. Now, this 4 gig file is such a huge file, you really couldn't, analyze byte by byte. Even these antivirus which you have might be older than 1-2 years. You might have the virus signature added to it as an updation, but the software itself can be older. Nowadays, these rogue software can start or initiate certain programs, or legally, or what you can say, they might ask your permission. Can I install disk cleaner? And due to your urgency, you might say, oh, okay, yes, and all those things. So all these disk cleaners, unwanted software uninstaller, memory cleaners, specifically in smartphone, are these rogue softwares. What they do again, they try to collect data from your phone or your device and try to send it to a third party who is waiting for such details, and they might lodge an attack on you to either for their financial things, to be precise. So these type of four instruments we have discussed. So here we need to keep an open eye for such threats, such vulnerabilities coming our way. Even as a self cybersecurity expert, we should change our phone's password at least once a month, our banking account password at least once a month, if not at least once in 2 months. That's a necessity. Also, if you can understand, please keep the phone which you have using for a banking account, OTP and all those things, a separate phone from normal day-to-day use. Yes, Pratik sir. Do you have any questions, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm actually wondering, how to create the strong password,
Oh,
like,
that's
and easy to remember.
sure, sure. Now that's a kind of $1 million question. Let me take you to Google. Okay, and this is a really great question, and even I normally ask this question myself quite a few times. Okay, let's see. Google, type strong, strong PAWWRD, strong password. Now don't go to these generator things. Okay, I'll just
Okay.
say strong password. Now let's try to understand. Google is really great mechanism. They keep trying to update themselves, and they have all these what you can say good web spider to check on these scenarios, right? So there's a phonics.app.com which is suggesting certain things. Okay, let's have a look at these guys. And I'm just searching. Okay, could you see my web pages or no?
I can see the meeting topic, host.
Okay, let me stop this thing. Share the screen, and I was showing you the password. No, not this one. Give me a minute, please. Not this one. Okay, let me share the complete screen. Okay, could you see my screen? Strong password I have searched in Google.
Yes.
You can see, right?
Yes.
Now, I've clicked on this site called phoenixapp.com. Okay, let me go here. I'm just visiting the best site which Google have suggested. Let's try to understand from this. Normally, strong password should be at 8 to 12 character, at least 8. Okay, why this is? Because this is the research who have proven it. Now it is going, they are trying to make it more longer because it's difficult to crack. Okay, let me tell you, certain practical example. When you have a look at when you type this password and somebody looking at your shoulder, they can read your first 4 or 5 characters, but they couldn't look longer because either you will get suspicious or somebody else around you will get suspicious, right? Now this way, if your password is longer, the person who is looking at your mobile might not get the password in one go, or he might keep trying, but you might get a feeling like, okay, this person was always there standing besides me whenever I type password. So you'll be cautious next time, and next time you won't type the password in front of he or she, whatever it may be. And this thing really happens, right? Now the password is basically, when you say a 8 to 12 character password, which is a sufficiently longer password, which takes almost 30 to 35 seconds to type. And by this time, I believe, you will be cautious of checking if anybody is seeing you type your complete password, right? And this way, you are actually, preventing that guy or girl who is trying to target you for fishing out your password by looking at your device, keyboard, smartphone, whatnot. So that's the first link. Then we should have a combination, because whenever somebody tries to have a look at your password and if they guess your first 4 or 5 characters, they shouldn't guess able to guess your last 4 or 5 characters, depending upon the length of password. Now, let me the example given here is, I love my cat, Lord Stewart. So that lady had a cat. This was a really good case happened in, I think, 2002 2001. A great lady living in Pittsburgh who used to have, her her husband was a military person who have a good amount of deposits at her disposal because he died in I think 1994 95 sometime, and so she kept her banking password as I love my cat Lord Stewart, and she literally had a cat called Lord Stewart. Now the guy who was trying to hack her account was really keen on basically observing her multiple times whenever she was out and typed her password. I think within what you can say understanding, he got the password cracked within 4 5 years of this time, and then the guy who basically got away with almost I think $1.2 million, which is a great amount, right? Means if you keep track of a elderly woman and get $1.2 million in your bank just by looking at the lady, and that money was really what you can say transferred to many accounts across the world. First is transferred to a Bank of America account, which was traceable with the name and everything. But the guy have fled the North America by the time the actual FBI cracked this case. Now they acquired this guy after I think 1.5 years or so from some French town, French village. He have purchased a villa there and blah 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 things. But yes, that's always not possible. And she might have got some around 400K, and that French villa which she sold, and then so on and so forth. But still, the password should be a combination of at least one capital, one small, and a special character. And there are they normally give you an idea how much what all special character you can use, and this way, to my current knowledge, your password should be at 12 characters with a combination of at least one small, one capital, and one number, and one special character. And please don't use something like I love my cat Lord Stewart hash or something like that. So you got the idea, right? And yes, please change your password at least once in a month. Okay, and don't use phrases like I work in Phoenix, I stay in Pittsburgh, and those kind of scenarios. The actual password, good password, is like you can use this. Could you see this? LOA BMW WA 5782P. This doesn't mean anything to me, but again, this is a cryptic enough. Rather than the user might try, I own a BMW with 5282 plate. But yes, this password is cryptic enough, he might not be able to crack it. Even if you try to use those, password generators or password cracker. Yes, there are some software called password cracker as well. Okay, now there's another one. Hey, my new password is not difficult to remember. So H not MNPINTD 2R, and this kind of scenario. So build a password of your own, and you can write this sentence on your diary, on your bedroom wall, so that you will remember what type of password have you created. And you can create third or fourth such password which you use. Again, these are difficult ones, not very easy. I don't know, for Lord of Rings, could you see the password, below? For Lord of Rings, you can use these passwords. These are more cryptic than these. But yes, you can relate it to. And why do you relate to? Using the keyboard layout, create a custom pattern, another strong password idea. Okay, so please try out these things. Okay, and then rather than English like password, use a combination. And as you can see, this is a combination. Oh shit, come on, give me a minute. So this is a combination of what we just talked, right? A small, a capital, a number, and a special character. Or they are using two special character and so on and so forth. So please try something like this, right? This will not basically, clear the Google's authentication thought process because there's no capital letter here. Normally, every company has this policy, and they've included this in their access management software. And that's what we normally use to log in every time in the morning or anytime whenever you're logging. Okay, so please do try something like this and try to make it a bit cryptic so that nobody can guess it. And that's the important part here. Do you get my idea, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And this is really necessity for somebody like us to understand how we can secure ourselves first, and then we can start guiding others as well. Okay. Do anybody have any questions for me at this moment?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Then there are attacks like denial of service. Now, what is denial of service? We all know nowadays we use something like Selenium or automation testing. So what I do, I'm targeting Bank of America, Kansas data center server, which has a capacity of around 20K users at a given instance. During Christmas season, there are many hits, many guys who normally pay digitally, of course nowadays. So what I do, I create these automation script and target these American Bank of America server so that quite a few guys get denial of service. Okay, what's in it for me? What I do, I might redirect that server to another server which is created by me, and their user tries to enter his or her password and username and password. So I'll get a username and password. Now the third thing, which we can call the OTP, right? Normally we get OTP by either mobile, or we might have to put our fingerprint sensors and all those things. Now the guy who have really did these things might collect a username password of um, let's say around 500 odd users. Now they can't collect more than that, because by the time the American server have logged this vulnerability, it takes couple of minutes for the team to respond, and within that time they might have taken, let's say, maximum 500 accounts to hack. But now he still couldn't access the account because he's still falling short of what can say the OTPs or fingerprint sensor or whatnot, right? Well, what we call third access point as far as banking services goes, and that's why banking services have created that. Now, what the hacker does, he tried to trace down those users and try to get their, what you can say, email address or their phone numbers or something like that. And many scenarios, these guys get a duplicate SIM card, and that's why getting a duplicate SIM card is a really pain nowadays, which normally takes 3 or 4 days. Because whenever somebody normally requests for a duplicate SIM card, the cell company actually checks down the validity of the person, and they normally send the SIM card to your house, to your register address. But now here also this guy can pay to the postman and all those things, and these are really happening scenarios. So don't feel like these are hypotheticals. These are actually happen. So whenever the postman delivers the envelope to somebody else who was walking down the streets and asking for a SIM card, saying, okay, I was really in emergency, thank God I got SIM card, and kind of scenario. There again, there's a gray area there, or the guy can get access to the actual account to the bank. And this way, quite a few have tried. There was not a big heist in this DODS or DOD attacks, but still, there's a lot of potential here. And there are quite a few even corporate accounts try to get siphoned out of money. But thank God to our banking professionals, they could be able to trace or block the transfer before actual damage have to be happen. But yes, they have targeted some old guys who have not proactive enough to check with the banks if there's any big amount withdrawal have been happened or not. So nowadays it's a practice, at least in 70 to 80% of banks. If you withdraw any big amount, they normally give you a call additionally to make sure you are the person who is withdrawing it, and they might ask you to prove yourself also with the other credential which they have not collected, or they haven't gone through it. So they might to need to prove your identity beyond doubt, and then only they will allow that transfer. Okay, so we are basically accustoming to it. We are getting around these all type of already learned attack, but there could be more attacks as well. Now the password attacks, and this was the most what you can say easy enough our most challenging scenario we had during 2000 to 2015-16, these years. What used to do, all these hackers used to keep an eye on a individual with a, let's say great bank deposits or great bank balance, and they used to see from their bank user ID and password. And that's how now all bank have this third step of login credentials clearance. So once you got password and username, that's the key to your bank account, right? So that's the problem which we have resolved with the extra credential checks from banks nowadays. But still there are some banks, small banks, who normally go ahead with username passwords only. And these are, you can say, older banks for certain references. But yes, this is a challenge. So whenever any criticality in your access point or any criticality to, let's say, email address, to your banking account access, even to your house access or security system access, please do update these things with a three-point access clearance. Even for the best securities, the home securities companies within the North American regions, they have attached your cell phone to the security system, so that whenever you try to access or open the door, they might give you an OTP, or you might use want to use your fingerprint sensor or ID scanner or something like that. So this makes really difficult to break that system, because you can't carry IDs, a person's eye or a person's thumbprint for that matters. And even somebody try to access, the others will might get an SMS saying, okay, the phone, the front door is opened. It was open for so much seconds, so much milliseconds, and this is the photo of that person who entered the door. And these kind of security have been beefed up in even in the house securities as well. Then phishing, we just talk about phishing. Phishing can be via SMS, emails, whatever. We normally have a look at it. Even nowadays, in many New York clips, we have these advertising going on, right? Even there, they would like you to call some numbers and give them a details like name, address, and so on and so forth. Now there are laws in North America where you can't you can't ask complete name of a person, you can't ask a complete address of a person, you can't ask a complete birth date of a person. Now let me tell you, these are the laws for you. So if anybody is asking over the phone your complete name, complete address, or a complete birth date, please don't pronounce or giving something wrong unless you know the other person. And as we have seen in various central agency reports, they normally forbid you to speak up on a phone if the communication is not encrypted. The WhatsApp communication is normally encrypted, so you can do WhatsApp communication for such scenario. But if you are talking on a voice over IP, or basically a clear normal telephonic conversion, which can be tapped quite easily. So that's another type of phishing, where they want to catch you to tell your name, number, address over the phone. Even nobody can ask you complete social security number. Even if it's your bank, please don't give them over the phone. They might ask you to fill out a web form, that's fine. But the web form, please make sure it is actually related to that company in some way or the other, and that company is secured by HTTPS. HTTPS is basically hypertext transfer protocol with a secured layer, and normally they will have at least 128-bit encryption. And that's a normal way of working whenever you want to stop phishing altogether. But do you think we are getting paranoid over nothing? Yeah, this can be a scenario. So for that, what we're trying to do, we're trying to find a median. So how rich I am? Do I have billions of in my bank account? No. Then who the hell cares that much? But yes, at least have some basic security, like have a good password, have this third level of clearance, so that nobody can break your systems quite easily. That's what I can make out. Even I'm not a rich person, I'm a person like you. I normally earn per month and spend per month, and those kind of scenario. Okay. But for all those rich and what you can say high net worth individual, yes, they have to be really, really careful. Okay, and believe me, in today's digital age, it's not a blessing to be a rich because there are so many threats, so many challenges. And you can get all these digital photos morphed, digital images morphed left and right. So it's really difficult to understand if the other party is really genuine or he's trying to fish out certain things out of my whole thing. So my brand get crushed, or my funds get routed to some different account and so on and so forth. These things do happen every day, and believe me, there are a good number of hackers who call themselves ethical hackers. They keep try to get small amount from various banks. This is the case of last year's, it was a great case, which was a retired analyst from FBI. He used to siphon money from teacher's salary. Normally, teacher's salary is not given in a round figure because of the leaves, because of the leaves taken, because of in and out timings, and they have so much things. They normally calculate the per month salary. So salary is not constant for teachers. So what these guys used to do as a FBI analyst, he have monitored these communication from couple of banks across Midwest region. Okay, so Midwest region, we call it Bible Belt. So these are all religious guys there. The way we perceive, and that's also true. I stayed in St. Louis for around 3.5 years, so I know what is actually the Bible Belt and the meaning of it. So what he have done, he have created a software which is normally attached to a bank, and he said it will monitor your funds dissipation, and it will give you an idea if there is any exceptional dissipation or exceptional outflow of cash is happening at your bank. And yes, that software was right. But what he used to actually, he's normally keep tab on these teachers. There were around 300 plus teachers who are basically getting their paid on monthly basis. Now what he used to do, he used to siphon $1.50, $2, at the most $10 from each of these accounts over the period of around I think 6 years or so. And he have actually collected the funds of around I think $5 to $8 million. I couldn't remember the exact total funds he have collected, and that's really great amount, right? And these are from all these teachers. Now these funds collected are normally ignorant because they might think, the teacher might think, well, this can be a deduction of that suta or this fund and that fund, because all these teachers, they are normally attached to various funds, the social funds, right? You normally pay $2 per month to a social cause of elderlies in your uh, in your vicinity, in your area, in your county. You might pay $1.50 to this what you can say, which army we normally pay those things. Social army, no, not social army. I forgot the name. There's a specific army within North America. It's kind of called as, I forgot the. Could you remember? They call it army, Salvation Army, right? If I'm not wrong. So you pay some $2 to them, and so on and so forth. So normally these teachers, they have 5, 6 such outflow of cash where they normally pay these on monthly basis or yearly basis. So this guy was basically trying for that. Now how does this guy got caught? There was a teacher, there was a headmaster basically living in Kansas City, outskirts of Kansas City, who moved from Kansas City to St. Louis, and he have changed these what you can say, the outflows of various circle, because he moved to he moved from Kansas to St. Louis City, where he used to pay these outflows to the local communities, right? And he have not started to paying them, and then he started getting differences of $1.50, 80 cents, or something like that sort, recursively for the period of over 1.5 years. So what he did, he got the statements printed from the bank and gone to the local administrative office and checked with them, why I'm getting these deductions on my accounts. And then their administrative basically tried to analyze those stuff, and they found out, man, there are somebody who is pulling out money of your account from bank itself. So they suspected a bank employee. So they had a really big audit on that bank, the branch where this guy had the account transferred and all, but they found nothing. So then they got suspects on that software who was basically trying to monitor the outflow of the banks in the thresholds kind of scenario. Then whenever they've given this case to FBI, the analyst actually did analyze and trace back to this guy, which is actually a retired FBI analyst, and he was at the age of around 60 plus. Yeah, so it's really bad happened to him because of he haven't siphoned too many big account, but he was really milking these or really doing these what you can say fishing for so many, so long, so little. So he was really kind of almost invisible, as we can say, to a naked eye, and that's why he could do this fishing for so many days. And yes, even today also there are quite a few such attacks. So what I would really do, please do check on your salary checks, how much amount have been deposited, what are the deductions, are they as per the legal norms or not. Please do check these things, because now these banks, even there are employees who help such analysts and they get a pie of these funds as well. Okay, then there are malware. Malware is another type of softwares basically sent to your mobile, smartphone, or your desktops, where the software can try to get some details on you as a person, of you as in bank, the car details, the insurance, and all those things which we normally save in a text file or a doc file. Okay, and that way they might basically fish that file and send it to the third party. It's not as easy as we speak. This software might require 6 months or more than that time to basically collect this data. It's not easy without your knowledge to basically keep siphoning out of each and every text and doc file to read it through. Normally, whenever you get an antivirus from non-prominent company, those antivirus might have clubbed with this malware, because that's the way they boost their income. Otherwise, they have very little client base. So please purchase antivirus from a bigger giant, bigger company, where they have whenever they sell this software, they have all these details, all these checks and balances do before sending the software to you, even via internet or through a CD or DVD or whatnot. So this way we can make ourselves a bit secure in terms of any of these attacks. Now these are the few which I normally discuss during my training. There are a bit more as well, and we'll discuss as and when we keep moving on our learning spree. Do anybody have any questions at this time?
No. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay, great. Now let me play you a video, and this video will basically give you an idea of career, what we can do as far as 2020 cybersecurity roadmap. Okay, and they'll give you a good idea of understanding how we can basically prepare ourselves for the career in cybersecurity with a full force. This is a really good video. Have a look at her, and let's try to understand from her how we can do best, how we can acquire sufficient knowledge to get this career kick-started.
Cybersecurity was definitely last year, but have no fear. 2022 is also an amazing year to get started in cybersecurity. And in this video, I'm going to go over the main things that you need to know to get started in your cybersecurity career in 2022. And hopefully by the end of the video, you're going to have a good idea of where to start, what you should be looking at, and also resources that can help you figure out which